Hey everyone, today we're getting into something pretty much every property owner has to deal with at some point. That annoying crack or that pothole that seems to appear out of nowhere in your asphalt. We're going to dig into the real difference between just slapping a quick patch on it and calling in a pro for a repair that actually, lasts. All right, let's get right into it. You've been there, right? You spot a little crack in your driveway or parking lot, and the first thing you think is, hey, I can probably fix that myself, save a few bucks. But here's the question. Is that quick fix really a solution, or is it just kicking a way bigger and way more expensive problem down the road? That's what we're going to figure out. So first up, let's talk about why that quick fix is so darn tempting. I mean, you see some damage, and the idea of a fast, cheap solution seems like a no-brainer. It feels like you're on top of it, handling the problem before it gets any worse. But as we're about to see, it's usually just an illusion. So what are we even talking about when we say temporary repair? Well, it's pretty much what you see here. It's that quick fix, usually with something called a cold patch material you can grab at the hardware store. And yeah, you can apply it pretty easily, and for a little while, it looks okay. But here's the kicker. It only covers up the symptom, that crack you can see. It does absolutely nothing to address the real reason the asphalt is failing in the first place. And that brings us right to the heart of the matter. Why do these temporary patches almost always fail? It isn't just a string of bad luck, I promise you. These fixes are, well, they're basically designed to fail when you're thinking about the long-term health of your pavement. Turns out there are 5 really clear reasons why that quick patch you put down is just not going to last. It's pretty much guaranteed to leave you right back where you started, or maybe even in a worse spot. Let's break down why. Okay, so here's the domino effect. First, these patches do nothing for the real structural problems, like a weak foundation that's letting water seep underneath. Second, the patch stuff itself, it breaks down really fast. Third, because you ignored the root cause, that little problem just keeps getting bigger, meaning a much more expensive repair is in your future. Fourth, let's be honest, it ends up looking ugly and patchy, which really hurts your property's curb appeal. And finally, as these patches crumble, they create real safety hazards, like dripping spots. So that leads us to the true cost of a cheap repair. Whatever you think you're saving up front gets totally wiped out by what happens down the line. And believe me, we are not just talking about money here. This quote from our source material really just says it all. You're trying to save a little bit of cash today, but what you're actually doing is signing up for a massive bill later on. That small crack that could have been sealed properly, now it might need a huge full-depth repair. Or even worse, a complete, and I mean very expensive, replacement of the whole thing. Just look at this side-by-side comparison because it really makes the choice crystal clear. A temporary patch, it just covers a symptom. A professional repair, it actually fixes the cause. One fails in no time. The other is built to last. One makes your property look worse and creates risks. The other actually improves how it looks and keeps it safe. It's really the difference between putting a Band-Aid on a serious wound versus getting actual medical treatment. And the costs just keep piling up beyond the repair itself. We're talking about the potential for accidents and the liability that comes with them, a direct hit to your property's value. It all adds up to a much bigger financial headache. A failing patch costs you in ways you might not even be thinking about. Okay, enough doom and gloom about the problem. Let's switch gears and talk about the solution. What does a real professional asphalt repair actually look like? Well, it's all about building something that's meant to last. Look, a professional approach isn't just about dumping some filler in a hole. It's a whole process. It always starts with an honest look at the damage to find the root cause. Is it a weak base? Is water getting in? From there, the cracks get properly sealed to block water, which is asphalt's #1 enemy. Then they use quality, durable, hot mix asphalt for any patching. That's the stuff that actually binds and lasts, not like the temporary cold patch junk. And finally, a protective seal coat goes on top, which acts like a shield for the whole surface against the sun, rain, and traffic. So you're getting a complete, thought-out solution, not just a cosmetic touch-up. So how do you know when it's time to stop thinking about a DIY fix and actually make the call to a professional? Well, this last part is all about giving you the tools to spot the trouble before it gets out of hand. Here's your checklist. If you see cracks that are getting wider or longer, it's time to call a pro. If you're seeing actual potholes forming, that's a big sign the base underneath is failing. See any water pooling up after it rains? That's a huge red flag for drainage problems. And if the surface just looks kind of faded and rough, or you see spots that are sinking, yep, those are all signs that the integrity of your asphalt is in trouble. And really, if you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Taking action early and getting it fixed the right way is always going to be cheaper than waiting for a complete failure. A professional solution is an investment in your property, not just another bill to pay. This final quote really just wraps it all up perfectly. A professional repair does three crucial things. It protects your investment, it makes the area safer for everyone, and, most importantly, it saves you a ton of money in the long run. So the next time you look at that crack in your driveway or parking lot, just ask yourself this question. Are you standing on solid ground? Or is that little patch just hiding a much bigger problem right underneath the surface? Thanks for tuning in.